Let's talk about ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini when it comes to criminal defense. There's something you need to know and understand about what's privileged and what isn't. If you are facing a criminal charge, whether you have an attorney or not, and you type something about your case into Claude, into ChatGPT, or into Gemini, you are opening yourself up to a world of hurt. That is not privileged information. When you give that over to OpenAI or Anthropic or Google, it is then discoverable, meaning gettable, by the government. So let's say you've been charged with something as simple as DUI, and you go to Claude or ChatGPT and you say, I got pulled over last night and I blew a .12. I'd had a whole lot of beer before I got behind the wheel. What's going to happen to me? That is a conversation that could wind up in front of your judge, okay? That's the type of conversation you have with a lawyer, not with a chatbot. If you have that conversation with your lawyer, that conversation's not gonna wind up in front of a judge or in the hands of a prosecutor, okay? But here's the other thing. If you have a conversation with your lawyer and then you go type that conversation or what your lawyer told you into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, that can wind up in front of the judge. It can wind up in the hands of the prosecutor. So, for example, if you say, hey, I've been charged with DUI, my lawyer told me X, Y, and Z, is that a good defense? Then anything you've said about that to the chatbot can be put in front of the judge because you've waived the attorney-client privilege with respect to what you put in there. Okay. So please understand that these are not privileged communications you are having with an LLM or with a chatbot. Now, there is a chatbot on our website. The conversation you have with it is, in fact, privileged because you are seeking legal services. But if you put it into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, that's not the case. Okay. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. There was a case out of New York that brought all this to mind, United States versus Heppner. Now, it's the Southern District of New York, and the court's opinion is limited to just the facts of that case, okay? But it's very instructive. And on top of that, it's not in Mississippi and it's not the United States Supreme Court, but I bet a lot of Mississippi judges are going to go through this exact same analysis that this New York federal judge did. And what the judge up there said is, well, the lawyer didn't tell the person to use this tool, the person used it on their own. The person put the conversation content that they'd had with their lawyer, they put the contents of that conversation into this third party. It was Claude. And then later on, the lawyer can't come back and claim that it's privileged just because it was a conversation that they had with their client, that their client then, without instruction, put into the GPT here, Claude. All right. So be very, very careful. If you have any sort of criminal charges that are pending or you think you're about to be charged with them, don't go typing anything into Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude about the case. I know it's hard, especially with Google now, automatically doing AI searches and AI assisted searches. You want to just put in a very long description of what you're dealing with. I do it too. I used to type in 2 or 3 words into Google. Now I'll type in full phrases or sentences. If you're dealing with a criminal matter, don't do that. What you type in there is likely to end up in the hands of a prosecutor. All right. If you have any questions about this or if you're facing criminal charges, don't hesitate to give us a call here at Eichelberger Law Firm. Thanks.